Long before the first sun rose over Midgard, and the shadowed corners of Yggdrasil's roots, a serpent was born of giant blood and chaos. His name was Jörmungandr, the middle child of the trickster god Loki and the giantess Angrboda. And from the moment of his birth, he was feared by gods and giants alike. Loki's children were not ordinary beings. Each one was marked by fate. Fenrir, the great wolf, Hel, the ruler of the underworld, and Jörmungandr, the serpent destined to grow so vast that he would one day stretch across the world. Odin, all-father and wary master of fate, saw them omens of doom. Seeking to prevent catastrophe, he cast Jörmungandr into the sea that surrounds Midgard. There, the serpent did not die. He thrived. Fed by the deepest trenches and ancient magics, Jörmungandr grew larger with each passing age. His body stretched beyond comprehension until, at last, he circled the entire world. His own tail slipped into his mouth, not as a symbol of harmony, but as an omen of eternal return, a cycle that could never be broken. The seas soon became his domain. Storms followed in his wake. Fishermen spoke of unnatural whirlpools and great scales beneath the waves. Sailors who strayed too far from land vanished, and their ships shattered by something no mortal eye could see. Jörmungandr was no mere beast. He was a force, a living boundary between the known and the unknown. Of all the gods, none hated Jörmungandr more than Thor, the thunder god and slayer of monsters. Perhaps it was fate, or perhaps it was instinct, but the two were destined to clash from the start. Thor, being the protector of Midgard, viewed the serpent as a blight, a monstrous threat to mortals. Jörmungandr, born of Loki's chaos blood, saw Thor as the greatest enemy to his kind. And the first confrontation came not on a battlefield, but aboard a humble boat. Disguised as a fisherman, Thor set out with the giant Heimir, casting his line far into the sea. As bait, Thor used the head of an ox, and what he caught was no ordinary fish. From the depths rose Jörmungandr, awakened by the scent of blood and the echo of prophecy. His body towered above the waves, and Thor, never one to flee, wrapped his hands around the serpent's jaw and prepared to strike. Thunder cracked. The sky turned black. The sea frothed and boiled as Thor lifted his hammer, Mjolnir, to slay the serpent. But before the final blow could fall, Heimir, terrified beyond reason, cut the line. Jörmungandr vanished beneath the waves, wounded in pride, but still alive. From that moment on, their destinies were tied. The gods spoke in hushed tones of ragnarok, the final battle, when Thor and Jörmungandr would meet again, and neither would survive. As centuries passed, the World Serpent remained beneath the waves, coiled in silence. Though unseen, he was never forgotten. His existence haunted the gods of Asgard, a looming shadow over their golden halls. They knew what the prophecy foretold, and Jörmungandr's final rise would signal the twilight of the gods. The Norns, weavers of fate, had already written the outcome in the roots of Yggdrasil. The moment the serpent released its tail, the end would begin. The first tremors came when Loki broke free from his bonds and led a rebellion against the gods. Hel unleashed the dead from Niflheim. Fenrir, now grown immense, broke his chains and bared fangs towards the sky. And from the depths of the ocean, Jörmungandr stirred. With a deafening roar, he uncoiled. Tidal waves engulfed coastlines. The oceans surged with unnatural fury as the serpent rose higher than any mountain. Wrapping his immense body through the clouds and above the earth, he had grown so vast that no eye could take his full form. The mere movements of his coils cracked continents and stirred lightning from the heavens. It was then that Thor, the hammer wielder, rode into battle aboard his chariot pulled by 2 goats. The sky split with thunder, and Midgard itself quaked beneath the weight of what was coming. For Thor, this was the moment carved into his fate, his ultimate battle, not for glory, but for survival. And when Thor met Jörmungandr among the battlefield of Vigrid, the earth stilled. All who witnessed it knew they were seeing the collision of 2 unstoppable forces. The serpent hissed, venom thick and corrosive, spilling from his fangs like rivers. Thor hurled Mjolnir again and again, shattering scale and sinew, each strike sending shockwaves through the 9 realms. But Jörmungandr fought back with equal fury. His massive coils crushed warriors and gods alike. His venom darkened the skies, blotting out the sun. The 2 combatants, god and monster, battled until the world itself seemed to teeter on the edge of oblivion. And in the end, Thor struck the killing blow. With a final cry, Jörmungandr collapsed, his massive form writhing before falling still. The earth heaved under his weight, but victory came at a cost. Thor stumbled only 9 steps before the serpent's venom overwhelmed him. He fell beside the beast he had slain, the prophecy fulfilled to its bitter end. Though Jörmungandr perished, his legacy endured. In death, he marked the death of an age. The gods fell, the world was reshaped, and the stories passed from mouth to mouth, generation after generation. The tale of the World Serpent lived on. Some say that when this world was born anew, when green returns to the desolate lands and the gods walk once more, the sea will stir and a new serpent will rise, perhaps not of Loki's blood, but of fate's design. Jörmungandr remains a symbol not of destruction but of cycles, of beginnings and endings, of chaos and changes that cannot be caged and changed. And so, beneath the crashing waves of time, the echoes of the serpent will still rumble, forever encircling the imagination of those who dare to gaze too long into the unknown.